They say routines are what keep a marriage strong. Wake up together, eat together, talk about your day. That's what my wife Amber and I had always done, at least until a few months ago. I'm 39, she's 35. We've been married 8 years, no kids. I teach shop class at the local high school. She's a dental hygienist. Things used to be simple. Work, dinner, a little Netflix, some laughs, and bed by 10. Then she got into fitness. It started small, a morning jog, a smoothie blender on the counter. But then it was the gym, a CrossFit-style place on the edge of town. She met her personal coach there, Shane. At first, I was happy for her. Really, I was. She'd been in a bit of a rut, emotionally and physically. I figured this would lift her spirits. She'd come home sore but energized. Talked about macros, muscle groups, how Shane was pushing her past her limits. I joked about it once. Man, sounds like you're training for the Olympics. She just smiled. Nah, Shane says it's about pushing yourself to your personal best. The first time I met Shane was during one of their group events. A barbecue for all the clients. He was younger than me, maybe 32, lean, the type of guy who wore tank tops in the fall and called everyone, bro, or legend. He had that easy confidence some men carry without effort. The kind of guy that makes you feel like you're dressed wrong, even if you're not. Amber introduced me as her husband, Jake. He gave me one of those loose, one-hand half-hearted shakes and a nod. Jake, my man, she's killing it in class. Real beast mode. That word, beast, stuck with me. I didn't know if I should be proud or weirded out. But the first real crack? That came one night when I got home early. She wasn't expecting me. I walked through the door around 5 instead of my usual 6. She was in the kitchen, in her sports bra and leggings, sweaty, holding her phone. She jumped when she saw me. Whoa, I said, you okay? Yeah, just finished a crazy workout. Shane had us doing these circuits in. Her phone buzzed. She quickly flipped it over on the counter. Something about her energy felt off. Like, she wasn't out of breath from working out, she was nervous. Still, I let it slide. Until the messages started. I'd be in the garage, working on a project, and I'd hear her phone ping. That soft chirp she didn't realize was so distinctive. I noticed she'd check it, smile faintly, then lock the screen. I told myself I was being paranoid, insecure. She'd worked hard to get fit, feel better, be more confident. I didn't want to punish her for that. But things kept piling up. Like how she started showering before I even got home. Every night. Or how she started sleeping in her old college t-shirts. The ones she used to wear on bad days, when she was stressed. Not the silky ones she used to wear when she wanted to be close. Or how one night, I got up to get water at 2 a.m. and saw the blue glow of her phone. She was texting. I saw his name on the screen before she quickly hid it. Shane. Still, I said nothing. I didn't want to be the jealous husband. I didn't want to accuse her of something without proof. But deep down, I felt it. Not just the suspicion. The shift. The kind that happens when someone has already emotionally checked out, but just hasn't packed their bags yet. And that's when I started to watch. Not stalk, not spy. Just observe. Where she went, what she wore, how she acted when she got home. Because something told me this wasn't just about burpees and protein shakes. Something told me my wife wasn't chasing her personal best. She was chasing someone else. After that night, the one where I caught her texting Shane at 2 a.m., I tried to brush it off. Tried to act normal. I even told myself it was nothing. Just a coach checking in with a client. She was probably texting about her macros or asking about a meal plan. Harmless, right? But the thing is, once that seed is planted, you start seeing things you didn't notice before. The gym clothes, for example. She used to wear a mix of old tanks and leggings she bought on sale. The kind that had loose threads and faded logos. But lately, she was coming home with bags from Lululemon and Athleta. Stuff I knew wasn't cheap. Bright colors, low cuts, open backs. One outfit even had mesh panels running all the way down the legs. She'd try them on in front of the mirror, twisting her body to check herself from every angle. And I'd be sitting on the bed, pretending to scroll through my phone, pretending not to notice how she didn't ask what I thought anymore. She used to ask, "How'd I look?" She'd say, smiling. Now she just turned, nodded to herself, and walked away. Then came the smells. Her perfume had changed. That was the weirdest part. She used to wear this soft vanilla one. I loved it, always. Reminded me of our early days. But recently, it was stronger. Muskier. Like something you'd wear out at night. I asked her about it once. "Oh," she said casually, "I just wanted a change." And that was her new line for everything. New perfume? Just wanted a change. New playlist in the car full of heavy rap and EDM. Just needed a change. New lock on her phone? It updated weird, I'll fix it later. The little things started piling up. But the big one? That came on a Thursday night. I had a late staff meeting and got home around 7:30. I expected to find her home already. She usually finished her workouts by then. But the house was dark. Her car was gone. I waited. By 9, she still wasn't home. So I texted, "Everything okay?" No response. Half an hour later, she finally walked in, hair wet, makeup smudged, clothes different than what she left in. She didn't look like she came from the gym. She froze when she saw me on the couch. "Oh," she said, "didn't think you'd be home yet." I texted, I said. "You didn't answer." "Oh, sorry, my phone must have died." She set her gym bag down and walked straight to the bathroom. But when she passed me, I smelled it. Cologne. Not mine. Not the kind you'd smell in a locker room. Something warm, like cedarwood or amber. Subtle but definitely not sweat. I sat there staring at her gym bag, wondering if I had the guts to open it. But I didn't. Instead, I waited until she went to bed. Later that night, as she lay beside me, turned away, breathing steady, I stared at the ceiling and finally admitted something I'd been denying for weeks. I didn't trust my wife anymore. And I knew I couldn't go on pretending everything was fine. So the next day, I did something I never thought I'd do. I drove to a hardware store. Bought a cheap GPS tracker, the kind you can stick under a bumper. I wasn't proud of it. Hell, I felt sick just holding it. But I needed to know. Not because I wanted to catch her in the act, but because I couldn't live another week in this limbo, where my gut said one thing and her smile said another. The next morning, while she showered, I slipped outside and tucked the tracker under her rear bumper. 10 minutes later, she came down in leggings and a hoodie. "Going to train with Shane again?" I asked, trying to sound casual. She paused. "Yeah, we've got an early conditioning session." She kissed me on the cheek, quick, distant, and walked out the door. I watched her drive away. Then I opened the app. And waited. Because now, I'd know for sure. And maybe, just maybe, I'd be ready to face the truth. The GPS app was simple, just a little blinking dot on a map. That morning, as soon as she pulled out of the driveway, I followed it from my phone, sitting in the kitchen with my coffee gone cold. She turned right, toward the gym. I held my breath. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe all the late nights, the perfume, the lies. Maybe it was just insecurity talking. But then she didn't take the exit toward FitCore, the gym she'd sworn by. She kept going, past the downtown turnoff, then took a sharp right and pulled into a residential area I didn't recognize. A cul-de-sac. The dot stopped there, just sat still. I zoomed in. She was parked in front of a 2-story townhouse. Beige siding, red door, nothing special, but I didn't recognize the address. It wasn't Shane's gym. It wasn't even a business. It was someone's home. I sat there frozen, staring at the screen like it would suddenly change. 10 minutes passed, then 20. She didn't leave. That afternoon, when she got home, I didn't say a word. She was still in her leggings, hoodie zipped all the way up. Her hair was tied in a messy bun, but it looked styled. Like someone had touched it, smoothed it back. I asked how her workout was. "Exhausting," she said. "Shane had us doing sled pushes and hill sprints." "Nice," I said. "Was it at the gym?" She looked up from taking off her shoes. "Of course. Why?" "No reason." She smiled, small, guarded, and walked off to the shower. And that was the moment I knew. For sure, she wasn't just pulling away. She was gone. I didn't confront her. Not yet. That night, I sat in my garage, staring at the blinking light on the power drill that I forgot to shut off. My mind was a loop. Who lives at that house? How long has this been going on? Was it Shane's place? A friend? Or someone else entirely? The next day, I followed the tracker again. Same routine. Left around 8 a.m. supposedly, for the gym. 20 minutes later, same address. Only this time, she stayed for almost 2 hours. When she came home, she was glowing. Hair still damp from a shower. Carrying a smoothie in one hand, texting with the other. I watched her from the kitchen window. As she stepped out of her car, thumb tapping across the screen. She smiled, not at me, just at the message. I couldn't help myself. Later that night, when she went to bed early, claiming she was just wiped, I checked the app again. Then I wrote down the address. The next morning, after she left, I got in my truck and drove across town. The neighborhood was quiet, upper middle class, lots of manicured lawns, cars that didn't have rust, Amazon packages on porches. I parked down the street, waited 5 minutes. Then got out and walked past the house. That's when I saw it. Shane's car, parked in the driveway, his custom license plate, Grindingern, short for Grind and Grow, the name of his fitness brand. It was unmistakable. I stood there a minute too long, I think. A curtain in the upstairs window shifted, and I turned away fast. But not before I saw her silhouette. Amber, hair wet, wearing a robe. She wasn't just visiting. She was comfortable there. That night, I didn't eat dinner. Just sat in the dark living room, pretending to watch TV while she moved around upstairs. She came down around 9, sat beside me on the couch. "Long day?" she asked. I nodded. She rested her head on my shoulder. And I let her, because I still loved her. Even if she was lying to my face. Even if she smelled like his cologne. Even if she spent her mornings in his bed and her evenings in mine. That night, I didn't sleep. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling. And I finally stopped asking if it was true. Because it was. Now the only question left was, what the hell was I going to do about it? The days that followed were some of the strangest in my life. It felt like I was stuck in some kind of twisted performance, a play where she pretended to be my wife, and I pretended to believe her. She still cooked dinner, still asked how my day was, still curled up next to me on the couch like nothing was wrong. But every moment she touched me, every time she smiled, it felt like a lie brushing against my skin. Because in the mornings, I'd watch that little dot on the GPS app move across the map, back to that same house. To Shane. 3 times that week, same routine. Drive over, stay 2, sometimes 3 hours. Then swing by a juice bar or yoga studio before coming home. She was building a narrative, a cover, a version of herself that could explain away anything suspicious. And I let her build it, brick by brick, not because I was weak, but because I needed more. I wasn't going to confront her with just a hunch and a tracker app. I needed proof, something undeniable. Something that would speak louder than her excuses. So I reached out to an old student of mine, Liam. Smart kid, grew up to be a tech guy, runs his own surveillance company now. I told him I needed some help, something discreet. He didn't ask too many questions. 2 days later, he dropped off a set of cameras. One disguised as a clock, one in a smoke detector, and a third hidden in a USB charger. I installed them while she was at training. One in the living room. One in the hallway just outside the bedroom. And one, I hated myself for this, in the bedroom itself. I didn't want to see her do anything with him. But I needed to know if she brought Shane here. Into our home. Into our bed. The next part was waiting. And it was brutal. I'd sit in my truck during lunch breaks, watching the cloud feed on my phone. Nothing happened the first few days. She came home, took long showers, did laundry, made dinner. She was careful. But not careful enough. Friday morning, I was sitting in the teacher's lounge when my phone buzzed. Motion detected. Living room. I pulled up the feed and saw her. She walked in, laughing, followed by Shane. He wasn't even trying to be discreet. Wore a tight t-shirt, gym bag slung over his shoulder like he owned the place. Amber leaned in, kissed him. Not a shy, hesitant kiss. A kiss full of history. He grabbed her hips. She whispered something in his ear. He laughed. Then they disappeared down the hallway. I sat there, frozen, in front of a vending machine buzzing behind me like static in my head. It was one thing to suspect, another to see it. She was bringing him here. To our home. Walking past our wedding photos. Our couch. The kitchen table we bought at the flea market and refinished together. I didn't finish the workday. I told the school I wasn't feeling well and went home early, just so I wouldn't see her when she came back. That night, I pretended to be asleep when she slipped into bed. She kissed my shoulder. I didn't move, because if I moved, if I looked at her, I was afraid I'd say something I couldn't take back. Or worse, something that didn't hurt her at all. The next morning, I packed a small bag and left the house before she woke up. I told her I had a district conference out of town. That was a lie. I rented a room at a cheap hotel 20 minutes away. I needed space. To think. To figure out what the hell I was supposed to do. Should I confront her? Demand answers? File for divorce? Or was there some part of me, the weak, hopeful part, that still believed this could be fixed? I didn't know yet, but I knew I couldn't go on like this. Lying next to someone who was lying to me. Living in a house that no longer felt like home. And as I sat there on the edge of the hotel bed, staring at my wedding ring sitting on the nightstand, I asked myself something I wasn't ready to answer yet. Was I more afraid of losing her, or of forgiving her? The next day at the hotel, I didn't leave the room. Didn't eat much either, just sat with my phone in hand, watching the live feeds. The cameras, the tracker, it became a kind of obsession, a painful one. Like pressing a bruise just to see if it still hurts. She went to his place again that morning. Stayed for 2 hours. Came home, showered, then called me. I let it ring. A minute later, a text. Hope your conference is going well. Miss you already. Red heart. I stared at it for a long time. The ease with which she could say, miss you, after being with another man, it chilled me more than anything else. That wasn't love, that was someone playing a role. But the worst part? A small part of me still missed her, too. That night, I drove back home, not to confront her yet, but because I wanted to be there when she wasn't. The house was empty. I walked through the front door and felt like a stranger in my own home. I could still smell her shampoo on the bathroom towel. Her perfume clung to the hallway like a ghost. I opened her gym bag. Inside, her sports bra and leggings were shoved on top of each other, clean, folded. Too clean. No sweat marks. No damp spots. She hadn't worn them. At the bottom of the bag? A receipt. From a coffee shop near Shane's house. Time-stamped 2 hours after she said she was at the gym. She was getting sloppy. Or maybe, she just didn't care if I found out. That night, I copied the video files onto a flash drive. Made a backup on a cloud account she didn't know about. I wasn't planning to expose her publicly. That's not who I am, but I wanted to protect myself. If things went legal, I needed the truth on my side. Still, part of me kept hesitating. What if she apologized? What if she begged? What if she swore it was a mistake? Would I believe her? Would I even want to? I didn't have to wait long for a moment that pushed me over the edge. The next night, I came home from work a little early. Her car was in the driveway, but the house was quiet. I figured she was in the shower. I walked in through the garage and dropped my keys, quietly, on the counter. Then I heard it, her voice, from upstairs, laughing. I moved up the stairs slowly, careful not to make a sound. Her bedroom door was closed, but not fully. There was a gap, just wide enough to hear clearly. She was on the phone. I didn't hear everything, but I caught enough. No, he doesn't suspect a thing. He's been so sweet lately, it almost makes me feel bad. Pause. No, of course I'm not telling him. Are you crazy? He'd fall apart. She laughed again. That soft, flirty laugh I hadn't heard in weeks. Then she said something that hollowed me out completely. Yeah, I might stay a bit longer, just until I'm sure Shane and I are serious. No reason to blow up my whole life yet. I didn't wait for her to hang up. I walked down the stairs, grabbed my bag from the coat closet, and left the house again. This time I wasn't going to a hotel. I went to my brother's place. Told him everything. For the first time since this all started, I said it out loud, the whole story. He didn't say much, just nodded, handed me a beer, and sat with me in silence. It was the first moment I felt something close to peace. Not because the pain was gone, it wasn't. But because I'd finally made a decision. It was time to stop pretending. This marriage was over, whether she admitted it or not. The next few days, I stayed at my brother's place. Told work I needed time off for personal reasons. No one asked questions. I think I looked how I felt, hollowed out, tired, used. Amber texted me like nothing had changed. You okay? Conference done? Dinner tomorrow? I didn't answer. I didn't even open the last one. I was trying to figure out how to end it without exploding. How to walk away without dragging us both through fire. I didn't want revenge. I didn't want a scene. I just wanted out. But then she showed up. Saturday morning. I heard a knock on the front door while I was in the kitchen. My brother peeked out, then looked back at me. It's her. I froze. I wasn't ready. I had rehearsed every word in my head, quiet, calm, final. But not like this. Not here. Not with her standing outside like we were going to talk about what movie to watch that night. She stepped inside, trying to smile. What's going on, Jake? You've been ignoring me. I didn't say anything at first. Just motioned toward the back deck. She followed me outside, arms crossed, probably expecting a little cold shoulder, maybe a guilt trip. What she wasn't expecting was everything. I pulled out the flash drive from my pocket and set it on the table between us. What's that? She asked, frowning. I know where you've been going. I know it's Shane. I know how many times. I know what you said about me on the phone. I know everything. She blinked, just once, and her whole face changed. It wasn't shock. It was recognition. Not, I can't believe you know, but, so, it's over. She didn't deny it. Didn't try to lie. She just looked down and whispered, I didn't mean for it to happen like this. I laughed. Couldn't help it. You mean you didn't mean to get caught? No, she said. I didn't mean to hurt you. I stood up and leaned on the railing, looking out at the woods behind my brother's house. You could have just told me, Amber. You could have said something was wrong. That you weren't happy. That you didn't love me anymore. I didn't know how, she said. You were always good to me. You didn't do anything wrong. I started changing, and I didn't know how to bring you with me. I turned to her. No, you didn't want to bring me with you. You wanted something new. You just didn't want to give up the safety of what you already had. She didn't argue. She just nodded, and in that moment, I didn't see my wife anymore. I saw someone I used to love. Someone who no longer knew what it meant to be married. I'm not fighting you, I told her. You want out? You've already been out, so this is me letting go. She bit her lip. Her eyes got glassy. I didn't expect to feel this, sad. You should have thought about that when you were lying next to him in our bed. She winced. That one landed, but I didn't care anymore. I'll be moving forward with divorce, I said. I'll stay at my brother's until I get a place. You keep the house, for now. I'm not staying there. I can't. She nodded again. Quiet. Then she asked the only thing she probably still cared about. Are you going to tell people? No, I said. I'm not out to embarrass you. You did that to yourself. But if someone asks me why we split, I'll tell them the truth. Her eyes dropped to the flash drive still sitting between us. What's on it? Enough, I said. But I'm not here to hurt you, Amber. Just to be done. She left without saying goodbye. No hug, no apology, no fight. Just walked down the steps, got into her car, and drove off. And as I watched her disappear down the road, I didn't feel rage or regret or even relief. I just felt done. 2 weeks later, I signed the divorce papers. No lawyers, no drama. We sat across from each other at a bland wooden table in a mediation office downtown, like two strangers negotiating the return of borrowed items. She didn't ask for much. I gave her the house. I didn't want it anymore. Too many memories baked into the walls, Sunday morning pancakes, wine on the porch, her perfume in the sheets. All of it tainted now, like photos burned just enough to see the faces smiling through the scorch marks. We split everything else clean. I kept my truck, my tools, the savings I'd built up over years of working late, budgeting carefully, being a responsible husband. She got the couch, the coffee table, the dog. A golden retriever we rescued together but who always followed her around more anyway. I wasn't angry. I thought I would be, but I wasn't. I was just tired. It's been 5 months since that day. I live in a small rental now, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, a garage with barely enough room for my tool bench. It's quiet. I sleep better. There's a spot on the wall above my kitchen table that used to hold our wedding photo. I haven't put anything there yet. Not sure if I ever will. People ask what happened. Some friends already know. They'd seen her with Shane before I even had the proof, but never said anything. I don't hold it against them. Nobody wants to be the one to deliver that kind of truth. Others ask more gently. You two just grew apart? I smile, nod, something like that. They don't need the whole story. The late night calls, the lies, The cameras and GPS and the way my chest felt like it caved in when I saw her kiss him on my own front steps. That part belongs to me now. I heard through a mutual friend that she and Shane didn't last. Apparently he moved on a month after our divorce finalized. Started training some influencer girl, someone younger, someone flashier. Same playbook. I don't know if it made her feel used, or replaced, or if she even cared. But I didn't feel satisfaction when I found out. Just confirmation of something I already knew. People who cheat with you will eventually cheat on you. I still think about her sometimes. Not in the way I used to. Not like I want her back. More like you remember someone who used to live next door. Someone you used to wave to on the porch, who brought over cookies once, who smiled just enough to make you think they were a friend. Before you learned better. That's who Amber is now. A part of my past. I'm not in love, not yet, but I'm no longer angry, either. Some nights I sit in the garage, sipping a beer, watching dust float through the shaft of light coming through the side window. I don't feel broken anymore. I feel steady, and free. They say when someone cheats, they destroy trust. But that's not all. They destroy who you were when you believed in them. The hardest part isn't losing them, it's finding yourself again in the wreckage. And I think I've done that. Slowly, quietly, one truth at a time.